Hey guys, welcome back. It's Mental Health Miss Maddie, and today we're going to do a part 2 to the Q&A because there were so many amazing questions. I couldn't just pinpoint some. I want to get through as many as I can because they were good. Like, they're just really good. And you guys did a lot. Let's see. How long does it take you to get there? I'm assuming you're not meeting from my house because I only live 10 minutes. That's how I get there so quickly. But usually here's like the normal precautions. So if you go to the ER because you have an attempt or you're making threats or you feel suicidal, you are usually held in the ER for 8 hours. It could change per place. This is only the 2 places I've experienced. So you're held there for 8 hours. You see a therapist, you see a doctor, you see a psychiatrist, and they make a treatment plan. If you need to be admitted due to what happened, they will admit you, but they will also find you a placement. And 9 out of 10 times it's to a psych hospital where you can get better and just kind of grow and see the different coping skills you need. I don't know how long it takes you if you're admitted in the hospital. I know sometimes they do 72-hour holds where you're held at the hospital for 72 hours to make sure you're in the right mindset if you're going through crisis or you're manic. Both of those are just, it depends on the hospital. So if you're going to a bigger hospital versus the kids, I think it's different. Why did I choose my job? So that's a great question. So I love kids. I quit reporting. I did an About Me video if you want to watch it. I love kids. And to me, there's such a need for a positive influence in this world, and I see it, and I feel like my God-given talent is to help kids, and that's why I was put on this earth. So I love my job. I always loved listening to people when they were struggling. I'm really good at advice. I give Grace advice. Like, she'll admit I'm really good at advice, and I think it's just because I see what they're going through, and a lot of people don't see it the way I see it, and I genuinely want to help. Are kids allowed to talk to their family there? I already did that in the first video, but I think it's good to hit it in both videos. Yes, you can talk to your family. You're allowed to make outgoing calls. This is like ours. I don't know everyone else's, but you're allowed to make outgoing video or calls from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. I would assume it's because we don't want you calling them while they're at work because we don't want anyone to get in trouble. But your parents can call you at any time. You do get a contact list, and those are the only people you can talk to. Usually it's mom, dad, if you absolutely need a grandparent on there, or it's whoever has custody of you. But we don't really put friends on there because during this time we don't really want you contacting friends, and I'll give you an example why. So I know a bunch of you say that you can't live without your friends, but it's a week and you can. I have faith in you. But also, we had a case where a mom let a friend talk on the phone to the kid and then started spreading rumors about the kid. And then that kid's not there to defend it. So it's safety. It's also very much HIPAA because we can't give out names. Do I get anxiety or flashbacks working there? I think this is a good question too. There was a time where I had to cut something off of a kid's neck, and it was not a pleasant experience, and there was a lot of screaming, a lot of crying, a lot of people getting hurt during it. And I will tell you, it was within the first week I worked there, and I had flashbacks for about a month, and only because it was a new environment. Now not so much. Like, now we've been exposed to so much that I don't see it as much, but definitely that first month, anytime I would walk into a room and lay down, like I would flash back to it. But like I said, now not so much, which is really bad because I tell my parents this. I'm so desensitized now because of working in such a traumatic field in both psych and in a trauma hospital that I can watch movies and they have no effect on me, which is really, really bad. I probably need to take a break. How many people can be on the unit? 2, 4, 6. So we have 12 beds on girls unit. I think we can house 18 because we have boats, but also I think the staffing ratio is 1 to 11. 1 staff per 11 kids, which is horrible. In my opinion, it needs to be like 1 staff per 5 kids, because when it's me and 11 kids and they all start fighting and I have to call codes, I'm the one in the middle. So that's the only thing I don't like. Do they see their parents? Yeah, so your parents can visit at any time. we ask that maybe just once or twice a stay, because if you see them every day, you're kind of not getting, they're pulling you away from groups and they're pulling you away from therapy sessions. And so we just say like, hey, you know, maybe not every day for 4 hours. They can bring you meals. They can bring you McDonald's if you want it for dinner. You can sit down there and eat it with them. There's a staff with you, but that's just for safety. Can you pick how long you're going to stay there? No. The sad thing is, if your insurance runs out, they do kick you out. Insurance will say they're not covering it, and then they have to discharge you, which I 100% disagree with, but there's just stuff we can't control. But there's different times where like some kids only stay for 2 days. Maybe it's an accidental thing. Maybe they weren't suicidal and the hospital took it wrong and mom and dad are like, no, we're coming to get you now. There's that. That happens sometimes. Do you get your phones? No, and I'm gonna do a video on that next. Is it scary? It's not scary. It's more of like, imagine working in a jail. Imagine not knowing if you're gonna get hit. Imagine if you don't know what kids you have. It's just a very like what if scenario. So I wouldn't say it's scary working there. I would say sometimes it's more tedious and more like frustrating, and sometimes I get anxiety. Night shift isn't bad. Night shifts are all asleep. The only thing I find scary is at night, if you go downstairs to get the laundry from the kids, it's dark and the only thing that lights it up is a red exit sign and it looks something from like a horror movie. But that's my only complaint. The food, I actually did a TikTok about it. The food is actually decent. There's not a lot of issues with it. Like I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, the food is probably an 8. Kids can usually find something they like there, and if they're super picky, I usually reach out and I'll be like, what do you want? I'll just go get it. You know, I try to bring hot Cheetos every shift or Takis because the kids do enjoy those. Let's see, does it affect the job you want in the future? No, it doesn't even follow you. Once you turn 18, what happens before you're a kid, it doesn't affect. I mean, if you're wanting to be a doctor and you've had 4 psychiatric stays, that's fine. You know, like it happens. Grace has been very open about it. She was inpatient once when she was in high school. And she's a nurse. So don't think that it's gonna destroy your career growing up, because it won't. People need help and we all have to get through it at some time. Do they actually help? This is a major question. I don't know. I would like to say we help. I think I help, but can I say psychiatric as a whole helps? I don't know. I don't know your situations. I don't know if when you leave you feel better. I would like to think that we do help some. Like I've seen some great stories turn out, but also you have to think that like some of these kids are foster kids who have been institutionalized their whole lives, going from group home to group home, and maybe it's just a safe place for them. So the question of do psych hospitals actually help? I say yes, but I can't tell you if they do because I'm not you. I don't know if you going is going to fix your issues. I don't know if you going is going to stop what you're going through, but I would like to say yes. If you're in psychiatric hospitals with good staff like we have, you're in good hands and it does help. A lot of people ask about the food. Why does it depend on so much on insurance? I don't know. Unfortunately, that's the way our system in the United States works, where we are very insurance heavy and insurance is not free, nor is healthcare. And so, I don't know. I don't know a lot about that. I know in regular ERs, if you need assistance paying, they'll have payment plans, but I don't know in a psychiatric hospital how much of that actually goes through. If a kid has nightmares, I tend to really help them because I go through the same thing. Nightmares are crappy situations. And we usually, if you're at night shift and you say, I'm having really, really, really bad nightmares, I need help, we'll have someone sit with you. That's fine. Let's do like 2 more. Are you strict on phone calls? No, we don't actually have to listen to your phone calls unless a therapist has said like, hey, we need to listen because mom and dad are manipulating the situation, or grandparents are taking over a custody situation. There's only been a few times where they've had to have supervised phone calls. For the most part, you can be open, you can tell them what medicine you're on. They know they've had to give consent. You can tell them what you're going through, you just can't violate HIPAA. So I try to give kids personal space with phone calls because I get it. We're with you all day, you don't want us to hear what you're saying. I respect that. Do you give them essentials? So, yes, that's a good question to end on. When you come in, I make you a box, or whoever your staff is, and it has the little hair ties, deodorant, shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrush, a comb, pads, anything you might need is in that box. And yeah, you could self-harm with it, but we hope that you'll, stick to the contract you sign saying you won't. And very rarely do we have an issue where a kid takes shower stuff and has an issue with it. But we give you all the essentials you need. We don't set you up for failure, we set you up for success. So guys, I will do another one of these in the coming weeks. This was kind of fun. I love answering your guys' questions because I don't know what all you guys want to know. So yeah, we'll do this again. I love you guys. Remember, it might be a bad day, month, or year, but it is not a bad life. I love you guys.